And here with us, we have Lieutenant Colonel Felix Davila. He's the commander for Cesario Nieves in Puerto Rico wing. He's a friend of mine. He have too many experience to work with cadets that earned the Spaatz. And he not only worked with the Spaatz, he worked with the cadet with the drill ceremony, honor guard, and other too many activities here in Puerto Rico. But he's going to introduce himself and share with us the information that he's going to provide. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Captain Rivera already says, my name is Felix Davila. I'm the commander of PR123. I've been a CP member since 1976. I have a couple of break in service periods because I was also in the United States Marine Corps for 5 years. And after one accident that I was out of the civil patrol for 3 years. So on and all, I've been in CP for almost 40 years. I have with me 3 cadets that recently passed these Spaatz tests, just like Cadet Coronel Herena, and they can more than I. They can explain what they did, what's the feeling of taking the test, of having to retest because many of them have to take the test more than once. Also, I have 2 cadet lieutenant colonels that they recently took the test, and they're gonna be hopefully taking the test soon enough, and probably becoming number 20 and number 21 of our unit. So that says that we have 19 cadets since 1987 that we started the unit that has passed the Spaatz test. As I always tell the people, it's a group effort. Senior members, they need to get involved to help the cadets in the different parts of the test. For instance, if the cadets he cannot run or do any push-ups or sit-ups, the senior member or all the cadets, they can mentor that cadet in order for him or her to be able to do the physical fitness test part. Also, the leadership and aerospace part, once a cadet takes the test, he will be a mentor to the next cadet that will be taking the test. Like, I'm pretty sure that Cadet Herena was mentored by Cadet Coronel Figueroa. So he helped him, Cadet Coronel Herena has some questions, and Cadet Coronel Figueroa, since he already passed the test, helped him during that period of time. I have a couple of questions here that Captain Rivera wrote to me. Okay, the parts of the Spaatz test are 4 parts. Is the leadership part is 60 questions. Is from, you have to focus more on phase 4 of the program. And in the leadership test, many times they ask you questions, like they put a scenario. They tell you what happened, and then they give you the answers. And one of the answers is what answers be redundant. What they ask you, but they don't ask you directly. They give you like okay, so and so did this, is that, this happened, and then they give you the answers. The physical fitness part consists of mile run, push-ups, and sit-ups. In the mile run, for the male cadets, they have to run it in less than 6:29. And I'm asking my cadets to make sure I get the right number. And then for the female cadets, is 7:30. That's the mile run. If you go to I get back to you guys. Remember, Spanish is my first language. English is my second language. Okay. The push-ups, if you're a male cadet, you have to do 63 push-ups. And then if you're a female cadet, you need to do 41. And then for the sit-ups, or 81, you have to do 81 for males, and for females 78. So as you see, you have to prepare yourself for the physical fitness part. You cannot wait until the last minute then say, oh, I need to get ready. You have to do that with plenty of time. You have to practice push-ups and sit-ups like every day. If you cannot go and run outside, then you're gonna have to buy either a stationary bike, or find a place that have a stationary bike, or use the rope jumping. That will help you to do the part. Oh, instead of running, you do that, and you'll be ready for running because you're preparing your body for the run. Aerospace education, the same thing. You have these 60 questions. You have to do at least 48. You need to pass 48 questions in order to pass the test. Okay? 48 out of the 60 questions, both for leadership and aerospace education. And then you have to do an essay. They give you 3 topics right there on the spot, and then you decide which one you want to take, and you have 1 hour to do it. In order for you to do that, you need to practice with a computer beforehand, before taking the test. Because same thing, if you don't practice using a computer, when you get there and try to do the essay, the time is not going to be enough because you haven't practiced. The essay, the simplest one, is doing 5 paragraphs. One is the introduction, the last one is the conclusion, and 3 main body. That's where you have the discussion of the topic. Usually you need to do from 5 to 7 sentences per paragraph in order for you to get more than 800 words. And so you can explain the topic so they understand once they get in the States. And that's where they're going to be grading. It's going to be in national headquarters. It's not going to be in the place that you take the test. For the cadets here in Puerto Rico, that's one of the most difficult part because, as I said beforehand, English is our second language. Our main language is Spanish. I'm sorry. Okay. I believe that that we have been very successful and having so many cadets passing this past test is because of the team, the competition teams that we have. Because when you have a competition team, you have to practice like everything: the leadership part, the aerospace part, the physical fitness test. And now, if you have been in a competition team, you know that they have essays and speech. You're not gonna do a speech in the Spaatz table. Yes, the essay part, yes, and it's almost the same thing as the one that they use in competition. Now I'm gonna have some of my cadets that have passed the test or have taken the test to speak to you guys about it. If you have any question, you can ask now. Helena, are you ready to give talk about your experience? I guess that's a no. So we're gonna start with the
yeah, sir. Do you hear me?
Yes.
So yeah, Captain Rivera told me that you guys go first. And then
All right.
I
So
go.
we do that way then.
Yep.
First one.
I would like to take this opportunity just to remind everybody that I'm recording this and to make sure that I have your permission. And thank you very, very much to all of you for creating this presentation for us.
Good afternoon. I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Yari Rosario. I took my first attempt in December. I passed the essay and I also passed the aerospace test. The leadership test, I had a 72%. It wasn't easy because the questions were pretty long, but I need to study more and I'll be able to get it. And the physical fitness test, I didn't pass the mile because I ran in like 7:40 something and the time was supposed to be 7:29 or less. So if you have any questions or something you would like to know, I'll be glad to answer them.
Will you please elaborate on the character development essay?
Yes, so since I have entered the program, I have been doing a lot of essays because our squadron commander is really thinking a lot about that. And he's like, yeah, you should, if you want to pass the test, you should start practicing from now. You should start practicing since if you want to get to the last grade in the cadet program, you need to start practicing since the beginning. And that's why we started practicing in the mile and all of the exercises. The leadership test and aerospace test, we practice all the time. It's not like we started because we got to lieutenant colonel. We started since the beginning. And in the essay, I did my 5 paragraphs with 5 sentences each. I had to put in the beginning of the essay my name, my grade, my cap ID, and my squadron as well. I wouldn't say it was I talked about a lot of things in the essay, and how do I say this? So in the essay, I put like the 5 sentences, and in the beginning of the introduction, I talked about like things about that had to do with the CAP, and in the second paragraph, I wrote about what I thought. In the third paragraph, I wrote about what I think it should be, or how do I explained in my words, and then in the conclusion, I almost said the same thing, but like making sure I had my points. I left my point of view to the person that was reading the essay.
Where can we find examples of similar character development topics?
I believe there's a CAP pamphlet that has something like that. It has some of the topics or some examples you could take so you can practice.
I'm not aware of that. In our family, we've been through at least 2 practice, or not 2 practice. We've failed the Spaatz test 2 times.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we're particularly interested in how we can get better at, and that's knowing what kinds of topics or scenario questions, that sort of thing, that we would write about in the character development essay.
Okay, so I would like to know if it failed because of the time limit or because of something that was written in it.
The content.
Oh, the content. Okay, so if it's too short or doesn't have like, it's better that when you write the essay, you make to yourself some questions that you need to answer by each paragraph. So it will get better to write the paragraph itself.
Okay. The cadet, they also, I'm sorry, Lieutenant Colonel Davila again. Also the cadets, if they're gonna write, for instance, is should marijuana be allowed to be used in the civil patrol? That's a question, right? So they have to answer either yes or no. They cannot be like in between. They have to take a stand, and then they have to do the whole essay.
Defend
either saying yes or saying no. You have to defend what you're writing in the essay, basically.
Sir, can you give us other examples of things like that? Like,
Okay.
should marijuana be used in CAP? Other examples?
That's one example. Cadet Rosario, do you remember the one that you wrote about?
Yes, mine was if it was something about like replacing people with technology, something like that. So I was supposed to decide if it was right or wrong, or I think it would happen or not happen, that we would replace technology. Like we would replace ourselves, like the way humans work, with technology or AI.
Cadet Figura, can you give another example? Habla aquí.
So, and the topic that I had was how can you apply like the core values to your daily life. It was something like that.
Mari, your turn.
So the topic I had was how can you use the core values to become a good civilian? And about the questions in the essay, you can go to Leadership 8, Chapter 8. They actually tell you how to do the whole essay. So if you go to Chapter 8 and page 158, that's when they tell you how to improve your writing skills. And the topics are more about things you can say yes and things you can say no. It's about, it can be about anything. Like, do prisons works? ¿Qué otro ejemplo nos usamos para esto?
En mi experiencia, de los tres topics.
Right, you need to say your name, who you are before, okay?
I'm Lieutenant Colonel. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Maria Jose.
Okay, now you go ahead.
Alrighty. I'm Cadet Colonel Saranito. So in my experience, they're going to give you 3 topics, and one of them is going to be about aerospace, and then the other 2 are going to be about leadership. So there's that. Continue. Well, mine was about, I'm trying to think. It was about war, and if there was such a thing as a just war. But again, usually the topics are not going to repeat, so people are going to get different topics. And ultimately, I would say stick with the leadership one because it's going to be the easiest one for you.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. So I passed it on my first try, but I did not expect that I would. And I guess with that comes my number one advice, which is to not attempt it until you know that you're making a sacrifice to be able to pass it, because you're never going to be certain about passing it. I was not certain about passing it. I thought I was going to fail the PT. But what prompted me to take it was the fact that I knew that I was taking time out of my days to run every day, well, 6 times a week, and to genuinely study and like full-time learn the content and the Learn Fully books. So I guess that's my number one advice. Just be fully committed and don't just take it for the sake of taking it, but actually read yourself, have the sufficient self-leadership to understand if you are doing what you need to be doing to pass it.
That's great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So, good afternoon, guys. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Acosta. For me, my topic was, it was about technology and if it can achieve human peace. In my topic, I said no, that technology is amazing and it has a lot of purposes, but it will not achieve that. And what the instructor said about my essay is that it makes valid points, but that I needed to go deeper into that stuff for me to like get a better grade. So yeah, that's my experience with the essay. In Spaatz in general, I started studying like 1 month. Like I knew a lot of things already, but I actually started studying like 1 month before my test, and I studied really hard. I didn't pass the first try. I passed 3 parts. I passed the PT test barely because I didn't practice for it. So if you're not ready, just do not take it. I passed the aerospace part, and I passed my essay, but I didn't pass leadership. I had at a 76, and next try I passed it with an 80. So my advice would be to emphasize PT and leadership. Those are for me the most hardest tests there are. So I'll probably consider like studying and giving that more effort than the other parts of the test.
Greetings. I hope everyone here is having an amazing day. I am Cadet Colonel Reyes Figueroa. So I took the Spaatz 2 times. So yeah, I passed it in the second time. The first time I think I passed the essay topic, the essay topic, and the physical fitness part. For the physical fitness part, it was pretty easy because I trained for a lot of time before taking the Spaatz test, and it is because I was training for my color guard competitions. I was a team commander, so it wasn't easy. But the clue I would say for the physical fitness is consistency. If you're not consistent enough, you will not make it. You can do a lot of things for the physical part. Essentially, I don't know, in push-ups. It is a lot of people train in the wrong way. Why? Because what I did was like, instead of running just 2 times a week for, I don't know, 3 hours, what I did was running 5 times a week, but I don't know, for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I did that for a lot of time, a long period of times. I would say for like 3 months before passing it. And that helped me a lot. And the second thing I would say, it is hard to say this, but you need to stop being sorry for yourself. If you do not pass it, you're the one, like, no one is going to save you. You're the one that had to make it. Okay. So when I understood this, I did it. All right. It was, I would say, a bad experience in the first time that I didn't pass it, because I really thought that I would make it in my first attempt, but I didn't. So what I did, I remember I was consistent after every day of school, every day of like after my job. I trained in the meantime school. I trained I remember that I woke up every day like at 5 6 a.m. and I trained, because I am not the most intelligent one. I am not the best one in the room, but I am consistent, and yeah, that is what matters. Okay, who goes now? Oh, perfect.
The oldest one.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Lieutenant Colonel Omar Maldonado. I'm retired United States Marine Corps. I was awarded the Spaatz Award in 1999. The advice that I will have for each and every one of you is that you need to commit to take the test. You need to review every single chapter of every single book. Teamwork is the key. Let's say, for example, one team member can concentrate in leadership, the other one aerospace, the other one on physical fitness. Between those three elements, then you combine, can develop a plan in order to obtain that prestigious award. For the physical fitness test, my advice will be that do run every single day, but alternate your training schedule by, for example, one day you run long distances, then the next day you can rest, and then on the third day you do sprints, a lot of repetitive sprints. That way you can gain speed and lower your mile time. Have a good day.
Okay, So there you go. You saw one former Spaatz and 3 actual cadet Spaatz from our unit. If you have any question, you can write me. That's my email address right there. And I will try my best to answer your question. One thing before I let Cadet Helena speak is that you have 3 tries. If you take the Spaatz and you say, well, I'm gonna pass 2 parts the first time, and then you have 2 more tries to try to pass, that's the way you can also try to do it. Instead of trying to pass everything the first time, that's hard. At least here in Puerto Rico, we have about 62 cadets that has taken the Spaatz, and only 60 out of those 62, maybe 4 has passed it on the first try. So that shows you how hard it is. Okay, so now we can have Cadet Coronel Helena speaking to you. Have a good evening.
Oh, there you go. Can you guys hear me now? Just making sure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. So I'm Cadet Colonel Iram Helena. I've been in the CEP for almost 6 years now, so since 2019. And when you think about it and you think you're gonna be here, sitting, talking to you guys in such a manner like this one, it's pretty crazy. You think about it in retrospective. So you guys will feel amazing because I know each and every one of you guys that tries it are gonna succeed if you follow the advice my peers just gave to you. Because in my case, I had a lot of support from them, from Colonel Davila, Colonel Maldonado, Colonel Figueroa. They all helped me, so I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't had their support. So I want to thank to them in that manner. But yeah, I want to start saying that, right, if you want to take the Spaatz test, the first thing you got to do is like request it, right? You can't just show up to the place and just, hey, I'm here, I'm going to take the test, right? So you got to request it. And you're going to say, well, I don't know how to do it. So it's pretty simple. You just got to go, and you can go to the Civil Air Patrol's official website. And I have it here, so you can just, if you're gonna look it up, just put Spaatz examination request or whatever, and you're gonna find, if you put something along those lines, you're gonna find it. And then you have basically the information Colonel Davila talked in the beginning. So you have your the leadership and what you're gonna have to take on that test of the leadership part. The aerospace, you're also gonna have it. The fitness, so all that information. I'm not gonna repeat it because you just said it. Then the essay, it just says character, but I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more further in my presentation. Then it has that information. You guys already know that. Colonel Davila talk about that. But how did you request the Spaatz award, the Spaatz award examination? So you have some information here, and basically the most important thing is you need to, it's via email. So you make an email, and then in that email it's gonna have, you have the information here. You can look it up. It's your name, cap ID, in that order, because you gotta make a formal email with this information. So name, cap ID, and then you type your exam attempt. So if you never took it, it's the first time you're taking it, then you put exam attempt, colon, and then number 1. If it's your second try, then number 2, attempt number 2, etc. If you ever serve on active duty, and then you gotta propose the date. So you propose the date actually, it's a primary and an alternate date. So if I want to take it this Saturday, I can say in the email, I want to take it this Saturday with obviously the proper date and time and whatever. And then maybe Sunday is my alternate date. So if my proctor can't go on Saturday, then he will go on Sunday. Well, hopefully. And yeah, you will have communication between your cadet program and then the proctor, because you gotta send the email to the wing cadet program. He will then forward it. That's how he told me he did it, and that's how it says in the website. It may differ because sometimes, for example, in my case, my proctor was the wing CP, so the cadet program senior member, the officer. He was my proctor, so it's different because it's my communication was direct with him. But usually, because it's different people, you send the request to the CP, and then he forwards it to the wing commander. Then the wing commander assigns you a proctor, and you have your communication with your proctor, and that's how it goes. But anyways, once you do that, then you go take the test. You already know about the leadership part, the airspace, and the fitness part. But then the essay, I will say, and I think in my case, I mean, like how Colonel Davila said, it's our second language, right? English. So it's inherently difficult for us, even if you have been all your life speaking the language, it's gonna be inherently more difficult to make an essay in that second language. So that's that. So in our case, it's tedious. In your case, it's not that it's easier, but at least you have that going for you. So I'm rooting for you guys, and I hope you get it, which I know you will if you commit enough, like Colonel Maldonado said. And also, Dino talk about it. The topics do not repeat, but I'm not certain if they mention it. But usually the way it goes is your proctor sits down with you, and then when he enters his CAPD and the password, the system. So it's not him, it's not you, it's not no one. It's the system. It generates some topics. It's 3 topics, and it usually contains one, like each topic. It's like one is leadership, the other ones it's like technology or space or something. Usually it's aerospace, but it's more technology based, like one of my peers said before. And then another one is from leadership. So you have leadership, aerospace, and usually also you have politics. For example, sometimes I remember I had like 3 choices, and then one of the choices for myself, it had something to do with core values, so that's character. Another choice had to do with, because all the choices have to do with character, but they are more focused on technology or leadership or politics or something like that. So one of them was politics based. It had something to do with legalizing marijuana in the US. The other one, it was more technology focused. It had to do something about defense, US military defense, and I think it was how it benefited the US or something like that, something along those lines. And then the other one was about, I think I said, yeah, it was about philosophy. So it had something to do with the human mind and something like, it was really long. I don't remember the title because it was really long. And what I want to say about this, I want to say something with this. So be smart, guys. This is what I say. Smart is usually, in my case, for example, I'm more comfortable talking about technology, maybe, than you gotta see what we're talking about technology, right? I don't know everything, but maybe about airplanes or about the Air Force. Maybe I'm more well versed on that than talking about philosophy, right? Maybe you are not. Maybe the other topic, it's easier than those other 2 that you are maybe well versed in one of them. So be smart, choose the one that it's the easiest for you to write about and to go about on the essay. Even if like you like technology, even if you like philosophy over, I don't know, some really easy topic, choose the easy topic. Because what's like, you want to talk about something you can go on about and pass these Spaatz. That's your goal, right? So you wanna have all your cards in your favor. You don't want to trample yourself up. So that will be my advice on the essay. And to talk about my preparation, in my case, I passed the Spaatz on the first try, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm an alien. It doesn't mean that I'm better than anyone else, right? I said in the beginning that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the support of my peers, but especially it was for the support of my parents, right? Because in this Spaatz, during this Spaatz, my parents were in the vicinity of the place I was doing it. And it's gonna sound funny, but I believe they believed more in me than me myself. So I felt that energy, and that helped me a lot with managing stress and just being focused on what I had to do. Like they were reassuring me, "Oh, you're fine. You're gonna pass it. You're prepared for this." So the support from my parents were, I will say, top notch. Like I 100% believe that if they were not there supporting me, and even before the test, like especially before the test, it was just constant mental support and motivation from their part. So that's really important. I can't stress it enough. Like I think that's the most important thing, and that's why I wanted to say it before talking about the preparation I did. So yeah, that's that. And then preparing for the leadership airspace, guys, read. Like you gotta read. You gotta read the chapters one by one. Each one like it's the hardest one, right? So you're reading to learn. You're not reading to pass the test. You're reading to learn, and what you learn, it's gonna help you to pass the test. That's how it goes. It's not the other way around. That's for the leadership in aerospace. And Colonel Davila talked about that you gotta focus on phase 4. So that's really important. And journey of flight, okay? So those two things are really important. Journey of flight for the aerospace and phase 4 for the leadership. For the essay, practice the essays, practice writing essays. That's all I can say about that. One of peers also said that you can find that information in the Learn to Lead chapter 8. So do that. And then one more thing I wanted to talk about before the fitness, about the essays, is that you're gonna get to the place, right? You're gonna take the essay. If it's your first try, in the same day, second try, each way you're gonna take the essay, right? Once you get there, you don't have anything. You just have your brain in whatever you learn, like the format of it, which they talk about the format too. But what you're gonna do in the essay, it's whatever you have in here. So you're gonna use your intellectual brain power, and that's all you have. So what am I trying to say with this? Read stuff, read essays to see how the writer, the author, develops the essay, what they're trying to say, the theme, the title, the theme, everything. So write essays to see how people do that, and take inspiration from that. So once you got a topic, even if you don't know about what the topic is, you don't know anything, then you gotta still pick a topic, the one that you know you can elaborate more on. Okay, so that's that. And then for my preparation for the fitness, I was an athlete. So since I'm 6 years, I've been in sports and track and field. But since I took my Spaatz on high school, like I took it after high school, but I started preparing before finishing high school. Then it's tough. It's not impossible. It's tough, but you just gotta enjoy learning, okay? Because if you see it as a work, it doesn't matter how consistent you are. If you don't enjoy the process, it's just gonna be bad. It's gonna be sacrilegious. Like, you should enjoy the process, because if you really wanna, well, I'm gonna say this first and all. If you wanna be a Spaatz, you just don't wanna be Spaatz because of the three diamonds. Like, you want to be Spaatz because of what it means, and what it means is that you're a capable cadet and a knowledgeable cadet. And to be a capable and knowledgeable cadet, you gotta enjoy the process of learning. So that's important. You're not a Spaatz because you passed the test. You're a Spaatz because you have the capacity to pass the test. Okay, I wanted to make that point. And then, because like I said, and that comes too with the preparation for the fitness. Okay, so because I was in track and field, it's just my training. The training I did in track and field helped me to pass the test. In my case, I know usually for people, the mile is harder than the sit and reach and the push-ups. In my case, the mile was easier, but the push-up part was the one I really had to work on, because track and field athletes do not work that as much as running, obviously, right? So I had to train a lot of push-ups. Like, I wouldn't say every day, but almost. So yeah, that's that. In for my final thought, I really wish you guys can achieve whatever you want. Either is that reaching the Spaatz award, either that's becoming whatever you want in life. If you have the commitment and the discipline, the consistency to achieve it, you're gonna achieve it. It's something that it's gonna happen if you do all those things, and if you follow all the advice that we're giving you today. They don't wait, but they are gold, right? So yeah, I really wish you guys the best, and yeah, that's all for me.
Someone have any question? So, Captain Payet, the teams and the cadets that are working in the SPAT, and Mayor Rick, they are available to help all the cadets that want to work to get the World SPAT awards. They want to help us in Alaska, teaching, mentoring, and help the cadet in the process. So all of you can share this information. Sorry, to all the cadets that want to work with to earn the SPAT. Is anyone have any question?
Captain Rivera, this is Captain Paget.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to give a message to all of the Puerto Rico people who helped us today, but I don't know, are there more activities that you have planned for right now for this workshop?
No, ma'am. At this moment, not.
Is this kind of the conclusion then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. before I give our final thank you message, I would just like to encourage Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Benedict, Adam Greenwald to ask any questions. Adam Greenwald is the DCC for Homer, our newest squadron, with many up-and-coming cadets. I'd like to give them an opportunity to either say something or to ask any questions before I say something.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the training. This is Adam from Homer. I just wanted to thank everybody for their time. Most importantly, we have a number of cadets that are a very long ways away from this being immediately beneficial to them. But I guess if I were to ask a question in hindsight, from the cadets who have achieved or are working towards Spaatz, what time frame or at what phase or what achievement, I guess, would the cadets recommend that up and coming cadets really start to pour effort into any one? If there is a particular area that they should pour effort into, which one would it be?
Helena, you can answer that, please.
There you go. I think you guys can see me now. I can't see myself, but if you can, okay, there you go. It's kind of slow. So yes, sir. Usually what the CEP suggests is that you start at major, right? It says a cadet major. I don't believe that. I think you should start sooner, like a lot more sooner. So I would say cadet major is the latest you should start. But I think you can start whenever you want. So maybe, like realistically, maybe after like your Billy Mitchell, you can start because after your Billy Mitchell, then you're starting on phase 4, which if you remember, we suggested that's the most important, that you need to focus on that. So phase 4, you start on Billy Mitchell. That's phase 3, but you start getting the knowledge to reach phase 4. So since phase 3, you should start getting all that knowledge, which it's a little bit more complex. And then Journey of Flight, you start on Billy Mitchell. So I will say, whenever you want before Billy Mitchell, I will say not later than Cadet Major. And Billy Mitchell, I see it as a good place to start preparing for that. That's my take, though.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And if obviously I know that all of them are very important, but what would you say is I can imagine the closed book exam probably requires the most amount of dedication the earliest. Would you say that that's accurate?
Which one?
I would think studying for the closed book exam is something that should be really poured into earlier, or
it depends, right? Because maybe I'm physically fit to take the test even before wanting to take the test, right? So I wouldn't have much a harder time preparing for the test in the physical fitness part, but maybe it's the other way around. So that depends on the person solely. But if, let's say, you're equal parts prepared for every part, let's say you're on halfway there on fitness preparation, halfway there on essay preparation, which you can just prepare yourself for the format, but not the knowledge. You should have that. And you're halfway there for the closed book exam for each airspace and leadership. I will say the hardest thing to study, because it's the more time consuming. It consumes more time and a lot of brain power, because you got to remember all the stuff and learn. Yeah, I will say it's a closed book exam, so don't sleep on that, because if you pass that on your first try, you're not gonna have I think Davila, Coronel Davila mentioned it, but if you at least, even if you fail it, if you pass something in your first try, that's gonna help exponentially on your other tries, because then you can focus on whatever else you gotta take. It's not like you have to pass first try and if resets. Like, it's really important that you focus, and if you want to focus on something, I will say focus on the closed book exam, but don't sleep on the other two things.
Understood. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Benedict. I just want to thank you guys. This has been really helpful. I'm aspiring to attempt my Spaatz test here in the next 2 months for my first try. So I've been practicing quite a bit, and kind of working up towards that. So the only question I have is, all you guys had, the lieutenant colonels and the current Spaatz cadets who have attempted or passed the test before. A lot of you were talking about very specific ways to train for PT, or to train for the closed book leadership tests. I just wanted to ask, what do you think is the most the most important one to focus on for the longest time? So starting as I currently have a few new lieutenants or prospective lieutenants in my squadron who are aspiring to be a Spaatz cadet as well. What would you tell them to focus on first, and then what should they be practicing and studying the most?
Helena?
Okay, so you can see because the app is kind of slow. Excuse myself. Okay, can you guys hear me?
You're not transmitting very clearly right now.
Yeah, I know, man. It's my computer. It's not cooperating. Now or still no?
I'm not hearing you very clearly right now.
Okay. Wait.
I think I can hear you better now.
Oh wait, no. Wait. I don't know what it's happening right now. I think I fixed it.
You sound good now.
Okay, there you go. I fixed it. So yeah, like I said, from the 4 parts of the Spaatz examination, I will say the most difficult. So if I take the most difficult, I will say focus on that, but study the other ones too. So the closed book exams, so both the aerospace and the leadership. And in my case, I have a hard time memorizing the dates of the stuff that happened. So yeah, I had a harder time with that. So maybe that's the case for you guys. So aerospace and leadership. In the preparation for the fitness, I believe you talk about fitness and what you should prepare for. In my case, push-ups. Usually like 81, like 63 push-ups. It's no little amount of push-ups. In my case, I passed with flying colors. I didn't even thought about it. Like, I thought I was not passing that, but I did, and I actually did like 80, which is crazy. But then also another thing, you gotta prepare for that. The push-ups, I will say, is the hardest part. It just depends, right? So if you're tall, maybe you're gonna have an easier time running, but a harder time doing the sit-ups, right? Because I remember when I went to Blue Beret, it was this cadet colonel. His name was his last name was Thiessen. I remember he told me, he was really high. He was like 6'5" or something like that. He told me, no, like I didn't even train for the mile, and that was easy. But he failed like 1 or 2 times. I remember he told me, because of the sit-ups, because he was so tall. So the sit-ups were harder for him, right? So that depends on the person too. And then also, really really important thing. In my case, which I hope you guys have the same opportunity, I chose the order of the events. That's really important because let's say, in my case, right? I'm gonna take my case as an example. My weakness was push-ups, right? So what did I do first? The push-ups. Why? Because I'm fresh. I'm new. I want to have my whole capacity to do the hardest thing for me. So I started with the push-ups. Then I did the mile, which even though it was easier, I didn't want to tire my core, which I needed to endure the mile, doing the sit-ups, right? So I did push-up first, which was my hardest part. It's just basically a stair. Hardest first. So hardest event for you, highest priority. Take that one first if you can. So push-ups, mile run, and then sit-ups. In my case, if your case, your hardest, the thing that is for you the hardest is a mile, then take the mile. Then the thing for you that is the hardest is the sit-ups. Then take the sit-ups, and so it goes. Tell me if that answered your question, or if you wanna me to inquire more on that.
No, sir, that answered my question perfectly. Thank you. And actually, you also answered my second question about ordering the events. So you kind of double tapped on that one. So thank you very much. That's actually all I have.
Oh, great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Cadet Colonel Herena, because I'm recording this, I don't want you to give us your contact information now. However, is it okay with you if I look that up in e-services on your 101 card and give it to the other participants in this workshop? You're muted. Herena, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I could just give you my CP email if you want. I can type it.
Nope. That would don't do that, because then it'll show up on the recording that I'm doing right now. But we can look on your 101 card.
Sure. Oh yeah. Then do that. Yeah, you can write to my email.
Great.
I don't have any problem with that.
Thank you.
Then I can provide you that information. I can send you an email with all the contact.
Fantastic. And is it okay with you, Cadet Colonel Herena, if we do contact you with questions over the next maybe even a year or two, to get your advice? We really appreciate all of this.
Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
All right. And are some of the other cadets still there also? Oh, they were with Colonel Davila, weren't they? And he logged off. I wanted to thank them also, but we just so appreciate all of your experience that you're sharing with us, your wisdom and your advice. This is really valuable and helpful to us. I've always felt like there's a connection, even before Colonel Rivera joined our wing, between Alaska and Puerto Rico, because we're not on the mainland. Like we're the odd wings along with Hawaii, and it's nice to have this kind of opportunity. Challenging sometimes because we're 5 time zones apart, but just so grateful to all of you. So muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes por su experiencia, su sabiduría y sus consejos.
That's great, ma'am. And that's great Spanish too. So.
Okay, is no one have any question? We are going to conclude this activity. I hope you enjoy, and we are going to have a few more. We have more activities, so I hope in the future we can continue with this great experience. Thank you all.
And you guys.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.